We're going to work on Chapter 1, Cookie Cares Charitable Foundation. And they've done the hard part for us. They already downloaded the data from the Accounts Payable Department database. So they picked a particular department, which means that all of these payments were coded to the charitable department. And so we've downloaded them all. What we won't find in here are things that were miscoded to other places. That would be a different analysis that we might do, but we would not have the correct data for that. So actually knowing what data to pull is a huge part of accounting information skill. So we definitely want to accumulate that skill. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention so you don't just grab this file fat and happy and think, oh, it was perfect from the get-go, because it might be missing things and we'd have to do something else to find what's missing. But assuming that this is correct and has everything in it, they've given us a couple of questions. And so these are probably not the questions I would ask. Some of them might be questions I would ask. Their goal, which I hope you read in Chapter 1, is to give more every year. So they don't have anything more specific than that in terms of how diverse their giving is or any other criteria. So these are mainly interesting tasks that can be done in Tableau to get you started on learning how to use Tableau. So we'll go ahead and use these questions. The best questions are those that are tied to the actual strategy. So we might actually look at the trend over time, for instance, which is not one of the questions on here. But let's go ahead and learn Tableau. The video before this told you how to get to this point on the screen. So if you aren't here, then go watch that one first and then come back to this one. Okay, how many banks did Julia Cookies use for charitable giving? So I want the bank name, and I'm going to pull it up here on columns. You could also put it down in rows. It's just a matter of personal preference. And then I want the, right there, we can answer the first question. Right there's obviously 3. Okay. And then how many transactions were processed through Wells Fargo? So transactions would all have a reference number. Notice they're not asking about dollar amounts, so we can just use reference number. Okay, so we can scroll over it here, and it will give us the number of how many are in each. And they want through Wells Fargo, so 190 million. That's a lot of transactions. And then, and which bank had the fewest, which is the next question, which would be PNC. I think they're adding up the payment numbers. So let's go back here. We just want to count. So let's change this. Yes, it's adding up all the reference numbers for Bank of America. So we just want to count of how many transactions. So now I think, there we go. That's a little bit more believable. 867, 29. Okay, so how many were processed through Wells Fargo? 381. Which bank had the fewest? Obviously PNC. All right, what is the total amount of charitable giving in 2021? All right, so I'm going to go up here where it's got a little chart and an X, and that'll clear this out. Another way to do that is to have left that there and just open a fresh sheet. So the first one remains, and then you can open a new sheet to do a new one. So however you want to do it. Since I'm demoing, I'm not going to be saving any of this. Okay, total amount of giving in 2021. Okay, so I'm going to put the payment amount up here, and then the payment date. And I want to only have 2021. So let's go to year. Well, I can click over here and it'll tell me 3,246,755 was the total amount of giving in 2021. Notice that it's defaulting to the visual it thinks I want to see. I could also do this in a, you can go up here to show me, and maybe I want to see it in a bar chart rather than in a line graph. So then you can see in 2021, same dollar amount, but you can do it there. You can also see it in a table if you prefer. I don't want a visual, and I'm just clicking on and off here. And it will give you other possible visuals that you might like better. Maybe I don't want a visual, just give me the number. Okay. All right, then number 5, which bank processed the smallest dollar amount? So let's clear this off. Bank up here. And we want the dates. Where are my dates? Okay, because I want them, just making a little chart here for me. And then I need the payment amount. And I'm just going to pop that into the table here and let it populate out. So they wanted the smallest amount in 2021. And so it looks to me like that's PNC 575. All right, let's see here. Now we want to know which bank processed the highest total dollar amounts. Okay, so the bank with the highest dollar amount transactions. All right, and payment amount, we pop that right in there. And Bank of America is the highest. Okay, which charities received the largest donations? All right, I'm going to clear this off. And so the vendor name, that's the charity name. And payment amount. All right, and now I want to sort it. So I'm going to click sort of up here at the top and sort descending. That'll put the top 3 at the top. Of course, I could do it in a table as well, if you like that better. It's looking Excel-ish, but you can also do it this way. You can see United Way, American Cancer, and Habitat for Humanity are the 3 largest. All right, and then which state? Okay, so I can leave this up here and just change from vendor name to state. Let's put the state in here. And again, I'm just going to click up here and see this little gizmo here. So click on it, and it will sort. Illinois got the most. Illinois, Georgia got a lot more than all the others. I wonder why that is. That would be an internal control question. Like, why are you spending the lion's share of the charitable giving in 2 particular states? That's a question I want to hear more about. But it's not one of the questions on here. And that may be a qualitative thing that needs to be asked of humans rather than the data may or may not tell us that. All right, number 9. In what month and year was the largest dollar amount donated? All right, so payment amount and date. And now it's just showing year here, and I want month and year. So I'm going to right click here on year, and our choices are just the year, just the quarter, just the month, just the day, or here you get a combination. So I would like month plus year, so I'm going to click here. Now I get month and year, and so I can see that the biggest spike here is December 2020. All right, and of course, if I'm not interested in this dramatic looking EKG, I can get it in a table, or I can look at it as a bar chart. Of course, the answer is the same, but I can pick the visual that I find most appropriate for what it is I'm asking. All right, and then which charity got the largest donation? All right, let's clear this off and let's work on that one. So let's see here. Vendor name. Let's drop the payment amount in there. And now we want to see what's biggest. So let's play with these visuals a little bit. We can do a heat map, and the larger ones are darker. And so, but then we've got to scroll down and find the darkest, which, okay, that looks like the darkest of all of them by orders of magnitude, doesn't it? And so that's one way to do it. But let's come up with another way. What if we did this? So this is a sort of the size of the footprint. And so you see there's 5 that are really big and lots of little ones that look like little bricks, right? So United Way is clearly the largest. And then if you wanted to know the dollar amount, you could hover over and get it. So both of those visuals, you could do it in a table as well, but it's more difficult when you have all those little teeny tiny ones because they take up space on the visual. So this is kind of a nice way of having just the big ones just pop up. And of course you can hover over any of those little bricks and see what they are. So just getting a little bit creative here. in terms of the opportunities for some of these are clearly just not working. You could do bubbles. Again, it's going to show you the size of the footprint. So instead of having the bricks, you get little tiny dots and big bubbles. So we still get to the same amount. You can hover over this and get the same amount. So anyway, so that is your Tableau demo for the day.